Go love your own enemies. Don't be loving mine. My enemies are the theocratic fascists. I don't love them. I want to destroy them.
Child made in the image of God. Oh no, you're not. You're a faggot. And you can't join your church and you can't go to heaven. This is disgraceful. It's inhuman.
Somebody on my YouTube page wrote this comment under my latest video. The people and government of Scotland rose against Trump when he tried to stop offshore wind energy turbines introduced to lessen the impact of global warming because they spoil the views from his golf course. He is a boastful, buffoonish bully with a pea-sized brain, and like all bullies, he will back off when someone bites his ass. And yes, Dee, your country is fast losing respect and is becoming the developed world's laughing stock. It would be funny if it weren't so dangerous for the rest of us less powerful countries. Personally, I think the Christianity-infested GOP is showing signs of its death throes. The last hurrah as their generation of supporters dies off. One can only hope it dies off. In the meantime, what kind of damage is it going to do? And what kind of damage is it doing to America right now? And if Trump gets his way and ends up... I'm sorry, I have to laugh when I say this word, leading this country. What kind of damage is it going to do? Not only to America, which is still teetering from the Bush years. What kind of damage will it do to the rest of the world? What I foresee happening? He mentions us less powerful countries. You know what happens when a bunch of less powerful countries get together? They become powerful. That's what happens. And if America is going to become a threat to the world because it has a leader, again, tongue-in-cheek when I say leader, like Trump, what is the reaction going to be from these less powerful countries? I mean, what will these less powerful countries want to do to protect themselves when they see a buffoon bully at the reins of a powerful country like America? What will they want to do? What would I do if I wanted to hold on to and protect something that I cherish, namely my country and my way of life? What would I want to do? I would seek for a way to be powerful, so I wouldn't just be swept away at the whims of a child, which is what Trump. I'm sorry, Bush came to mind. I'm so sorry. Wonder why. I'm sorry. I thought Bush was bad, but Trump, oh my God, so much worse. We're going to make him lead the country, lead America, the most powerful country in the world. And the only reason he has the power to be still in the running is because of the infestation of Christianity in this country. Because so much of America has been dumbed down to the point that they would actually think this was a good idea. What happened in Scotland is such a good illustration of how unfit President Trump would be. He shows so clearly that he is not informed when it comes to the affairs, the current events going on around the world. He is not informed. He is not up to date. He has not even bothered to research If I decided one day that I thought I could run for president and be a good thing for this country, I would put a great deal of time and effort into trying to educate myself and catch up and, you know, undo the damage of years and years and years of not paying close attention. That's what I would do. I would attempt to undo the damage and make up for my own ignorance before I would ever even consider myself in the role of, or imagine myself in the role of running a country. What happened in Scotland shows that Trump is the same as I am. He is as clueless as I am and just as unfit to lead this country as I am. And clearly not particularly worried about it. Not really making much of an effort to educate himself and make himself more aware and prepared and qualified to lead this country. I don't see, you know, he doesn't seem to be too concerned. If I were going to make a comment about something that's as clearly important as the vote was in Scotland, I would at least try to get an idea of the implications of that vote were for the people involved before I'd open my big fat mouth and say stupid things like something completely wrong. How many times is he going to say things completely wrong as president? See, I think if you scrutinize the whole thing with his trip to Scotland and what happened while he was there and how his interest was so much more focused on his golf course and him making money than on something that was really important to the people of Scotland, I think close scrutiny of this one thing would be enough to show that this man is completely unfit to lead this country. But I can go a little further than that and just look at the things that come out of his mouth. Try to imagine in your mind the President of the United States. Try to imagine, this was 50 years ago, and we're looking at the President of the United States walking up to the podium to speak, and the way the people lean forward attentively to listen to his every word, and maybe they just feel honored to be in the same room as the President of the United States. Oh my goodness, maybe when he's walking down the aisle, if they're really lucky, he'll take their hand and shake it, and they can go home and tell their children, I shook the hand of the President of the United States. I mean, that's the kind of feeling that people, Americans, used to have toward the President of the United States. They didn't call the President Bush or Obama. They called him President Kennedy. Or President, I'm sorry, I hate to say this, but it's the name, Nixon. President! And then the name. They invoked the title and then the name. They didn't drop the title. They didn't just suddenly become super casual about the guy and just, Obama. I hate Obama. I hate Bush. No, even probably the people who hated the president said, oh, I hate that President Kennedy. They used the title. That title was a important thing and a big thing. Now we don't even use the title. We just invoke the name of the person. Stupid Obama. Stupid Bush. I hated that Clinton. Used to be the name, the word, the title, president was a really big, important thing. Not anymore. Now, you know, the president could be a talk show host for all the respect that we show to that title, to that position. It could just be Donahue or whatever. It could be Oprah Winfrey. That's how we talk about the president. Like he's a celebrity. No wonder that we can now imagine idiots running the country and walking up to the podium. I'm just trying to imagine the scene from 50 years ago and the guy walking to the podium. In the room that's everybody's looking at him is Trump. And this one really does merit just the name Trump. He does not, I'm sorry, I might throw up if I put the word president in front of that name. He doesn't deserve it, and he's not fit for it. Okay, but back to trying to imagine the President of the United States. The President of the United States saying this, and I quote, "You know, it really doesn't matter what the media write, as long as you've got a young and beautiful piece of ass." Half the people in America that this man would be leading are just pieces of ass to him. That's what women are to him. They're pieces of ass. Half the people in this country that this man would lead are just pieces of ass. That's his opinion of women. Right there, that's what he thinks of women to be. And you gotta have a young and beautiful piece of ass. This implies that if you're not young and beautiful, you as a piece of ass are worth shit. To be a piece of ass with any value at all, you have to be young and beautiful. The leader of the United States of America would be capable of saying things like this. You know, I'm sorry, I can't quite imagine a 9-year-old just illiterate. I mean, he's obviously not illiterate, but he acts and he talks like he is. A 9-year-old child running this country. A 9-year-old child would say something like this. Piece of ass? Seriously? Okay, and there are rape allegations against this guy. There is more than one woman out there claiming that this man raped them. So never mind the fact that he talks like a 9-year-old child and has the intellect or all the class of a playground bully. He also could just very well be a rapist. Not only is there allegations against him, but there are witnesses to those allegations. A rapist who looks upon women as pieces of ass. What other things has this great man said? You know, Arianna Huffington is unattractive, both inside and out. I fully understand why her former husband left her for a man. He made a good decision. Yeah, because she's unattractive, apparently it's a good decision to leave her. I like this one. Robert Pattinson should not take Kristen Stewart back. She cheated on him like a dog, and will do it again. Just watch. He can do much better. Uh-huh. I'm sorry. It's just hard for me to imagine the President of the United States saying these kind of things. President Obama, no matter what you think of him as a person or as a leader, he is articulate. He is well spoken. He communicates himself. He communicates what he wants to say very well. And so did President Clinton. We won't even talk about Bush. I'm sorry. This man doesn't think like a president, he doesn't act like a president, and he doesn't talk like a president. And he certainly does not show respect for half the people he would be leading. It floors me that women would vote for this piece of shit. But then I'm thinking the women that do are Republican women who are most likely brainwashed by Christianity to believe themselves to be less than men. Oh, here we go. If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie O'Donnell. I mean, I'd look at her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired. So let's see, the President of the United States feels that it's okay to call people names. Like a playground bully. Fat, ugly face of hers. I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. President Trump, the troll. President Trump, the same mental intellect as a troll who would go online and say these kinds of things to people he doesn't even know. President Trump, the troll, the king of trolls. The beauty of me is that I'm very rich. Oh, and here's a man who's going to be sympathetic and show compassion toward poor people and the struggling middle class who can't find jobs in this country because big rich companies are offshoring them to other countries. He's clearly in favor of rich companies. Money, that's what he's about. And he's going to be sympathetic toward big rich companies. It's so much less expensive to hire people overseas rather than Americans. You think he's going to make these big rich corporations start to hire Americans again? Do you think he's going to be in favor of bringing up minimum wage so people can survive or even hope to survive even though they're working full time? He's not going to be in favor of these things. He's going to be in favor of whatever makes big, rich companies richer. It's all about money. It's all about power. He's not going to be supportive or compassionate or emphatic toward the poor, the homeless, the veterans who can't get health care, the elderly. He certainly is not going to be concerned even remotely with women getting paid the same as men or women having rights over their own body. In fact, I think he's pretty much in favor of punishing women for having miscarriages and having abortions. I've said if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. Interesting. So he ogles his own child. He has secret lust for his own child. Actually, not secret, because he doesn't even have the class to keep those kind of thoughts to himself. He has no filters. It just pops out of his mouth, whatever he's thinking or feeling. Ooh, my daughter's a hottie. I wish I was, if I could just have a little piece of that ass. Piece of ass. Yeah, I imagine he looks at his daughter as a piece of ass too. I have never seen a thin person drinking Diet Coke. It's interesting. Again, the superficial concerns about a person's weight or a person's looks. I think the only difference between me and the other candidates is that I'm more honest and my women are more beautiful. Because, women who aren't beautiful have less value. Women who aren't skinny and beautiful and hot have less value. I see this man running the country turning it into a giant casino with babes walking around. I wonder if he'll make it against the law for women to be overweight or against the law for women to be plain. I wonder if he'll figure out a way to deport all the women in this country who aren't beautiful and young and thin. Anyway, I'm just looking down the list of other little quotes that this man has said. The only card Hillary Clinton has is the woman's card. She's got nothing else to offer, and frankly, if Hillary Clinton were a man, I don't think she'd get 5% of the vote. The only thing she's got is the woman card, and the beautiful thing is, women don't like her. Well, the part of the reason that a lot of women don't like her is because they're stupid, dumbed-down Christians. and they want to vote the way their men vote. I think Hillary Clinton, of the two people, has more qualifications. I think the chances of her destroying this country are less. No, I don't really think she's the best either. And I don't think Bernie Sanders is very good. I think we're woefully short of leaders in this country. But of the three of them, I do think she has the most spine and is the least likely to become somebody's puppet. And I don't think she's a joke like I think Trump is a joke. She at least walks the walk and talks the talk and acts like presidential material. Trump, not so much. I think the country is more likely to survive 4 years of Hillary than it is to survive 6 months of Trump. I think Hillary is less likely to be laughed at by the world as Trump is, who's already being laughed at. The world is already laughing at him and at us, that we're even seriously looking at this piece of shit as a potential candidate. A man who calls women a piece of ass. He refers to women as a piece of ass and brags about how he has more beautiful women. And he could potentially be a rapist. For some reason, we're not really bringing that out very much. The media isn't, but it should. Because there are witnesses. It's not just empty whatever, politically motivated threats. These threats, these allegations existed before he was ever talking about running this country. They came out right after it happened. And unfortunately, the person who made the accusations didn't have legal representation. Now she does, and she's not the only one. Do we want a rapist running this country, or a man with the mentality of a rapist who looks at women like they're just things and has utter contempt for women and doesn't bother to even hide it? He made it very clear that none of the people he's considering for vice president are women. No, because he thinks women are unfit and incapable. They're just pieces of ass. They're just arm candy. That's what women are good for. And if they're not beautiful and young and thin, they're not good for anything. And this man who thinks that the answer to everything he doesn't like is to build a wall or get rid of them, deport them, just get rid of them. Why if he's going to deport all the things in this country he doesn't like, I'm wondering if plain and old women are going to be on the list of things that go. Is it going to become a crime to not be beautiful in this country? It's already a crime to have a miscarriage, a physical thing that you can't help. It's already, in some states, a crime to have a miscarriage. They're working really hard, the GOP, to make it a crime for a woman to have any control what happens to her body if she should accidentally get pregnant. They want to make that a crime. When we're looking at a world that is so grossly overpopulated by humans that animals, the bees, which this planet needs to survive, are going away. We're still talking about whether it's right to have abortions in a world so infested with humanity that entire habitats and species are going away at a unfathomable, just, I'm sorry. My brain is locking up here at the very thought that this is even an issue. We're trying to make it a crime again for women. And what's funny is it never worked. When it was a crime for women to have an abortion, guess what? The abortions still happened. People still had them. Babies still died. Only so did the mothers, because they were going into back alleys to have the procedure done with coat hangers. And they would die. The women would die too, not just the fetuses. Not just the poor little babies. that everybody's so concerned about until they're born, and then suddenly we don't really care anymore. We just want to get those babies out, and then after that, who cares if they have a home or love or food or if they're abused or not. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going off track, so I'm going to end. Oh, here's a quote. Thanks, sweetie. That's nice. Apparently, Donald was patronizing a female 9/11 survivor. Thanks, sweetie. Disgusting. I'm sorry. Disgusting the way he treats and looks at women. Utterly disgusting. And half the people in this country that he would be leading are women. Do you want your rights to be depending upon this? I don't. I can't believe any woman would vote for this piece of shit. Or any man who gives a rat's ass about women and sees women as value. How can any man who sees women as valuable human beings support this person? Anyway, this is getting long. I just wanted to say what I think about the mentality of this man and what I think about what this whole election is doing to the little bit of respect that America might have still had in other places in the world. It's going away. We're becoming, we are. It's not even becoming is no longer the word. We are the laughing stock. And it does bother me. And it upsets me that it doesn't bother other people. To me, it's really, I took pride in being an American. I took pride in my country. It upsets me that I can't anymore.
I am absolutely convinced that the main source of hatred in the world is religion. And I think it should be religion treated with ridicule and hatred and contempt.